Welcome back to. What if I told you that a tiny 1-cent coin from 1971 could be hiding a story that most people completely overlook? You may have seen one before. $1.3 million. Maybe it is sitting in an old coin jar, buried inside a drawer, mixed with pocket change, or passed down from a family collection. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary Lincoln penny. But when you slow down and examine the date, mint mark, condition, color, and tiny details on the surface, the 1971 Lincoln cent becomes much more interesting. Welcome back to Hardest Penny, the channel where we take ordinary-looking coins and search for the details that collectors don't want you to miss. Today, we're putting the spotlight on the 1971 Lincoln penny. This is not a dollar coin. It is a 1-cent Lincoln cent, but certain examples can be much more interesting to collectors than their 1-cent face value suggests. The key is knowing what you're looking at. So before you spend, clean, or throw away that old 1971 penny, stay with us because this small coin has a history worth discovering. 1971 Lincoln penny. The 1971 Lincoln cent belongs to the famous Lincoln Memorial Cent series. The obverse features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, originally designed by Victor David Brenner, while the reverse displays the Lincoln Memorial. This memorial design had been introduced in 1959 and remained on the cent for decades. The 1971 penny was made from a bronze alloy containing approximately 95% copper and 5% zinc. It normally weighs around 3.11 grams. That copper-rich composition is one reason many surviving examples have developed attractive brown, reddish-brown, or red surfaces depending on how they were stored and how much environmental exposure they experienced. The first thing you should do when you find a 1971 Lincoln penny is simple. Look underneath the date. You may see a small D, or you may see no mint mark at all. A D indicates the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. Philadelphia cents from this period generally carried no mint mark. This small letter can help identify where your coin came from and is an important part of determining exactly which 1971 Lincoln cent you have. But the mint mark alone does not tell you whether the coin is valuable. The condition of the penny is extremely important. A coin that spent decades circulating may have scratches, worn details, discoloration, dents, and surface damage. Lincoln's hair may appear smooth, his cheek may show wear, and the fine details of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse may be less distinct. On the other hand, a 1971 penny that was carefully stored and preserved may still have sharp details and attractive original surfaces. High-grade examples are much more interesting to serious collectors because finding copper coins from this era in exceptional condition can be difficult. This brings us to one of the most important characteristics of Lincoln cents: color. Collectors and professional grading services commonly describe copper cents as brown, red-brown, or red. A naturally preserved red example can be considerably more desirable than a heavily toned brown coin when the grades are otherwise comparable. Original color can be a major part of a Lincoln cent's appeal. However, there's a very important warning for anyone searching old pennies. Never clean your coin. You might find a dark 1971 cent and think it would look better if you polished it. That could be a serious mistake. Cleaning can leave scratches, unnatural shine, and altered surfaces. Collectors generally prefer original surfaces, and an improperly cleaned coin can lose much of its potential appeal. Instead, handle your coin carefully by the edges and keep it in a suitable holder if you believe it may be collectible. Now let's talk about something that makes coin hunting even more exciting: errors and varieties. A genuine mint error occurs during the manufacturing process. It is not the same as damage that happens after the coin enters circulation. A coin can become scratched, bent, dented, stained, or damaged after leaving the mint, but those problems usually do not make it a valuable error. A genuine error, however, can sometimes attract strong collector interest. When examining a 1971 penny, pay attention to the date, lettering, portrait, rim, and reverse design. Look for unusual doubling, abnormal striking, missing details, off-center characteristics, or other features that appear to have originated during production. But don't assume that every unusual mark is an error. Many supposed rare errors are simply damaged coins. If your 1971 Lincoln penny looks dramatically different from normal examples, compare it carefully with trusted numismatic references and consider professional authentication before making any claims about its value. Another factor is the number of coins produced. The 1971 Lincoln cent was not an extremely scarce coin, and many examples remain available today. That means an ordinary circulated 1971 penny should not automatically be described as a rare treasure. This is an important lesson in coin collecting. Old does not always mean rare. A coin can be more than 50 years old and still be common. What collectors really want to know is whether a particular example has something special about it. That could be exceptional condition, original red color, a recognized variety, a genuine mint error, or another characteristic that separates it from millions of ordinary pieces. Imagine you have two 1971 pennies. The first one is scratched, dark, heavily worn, and has clearly spent years in circulation. The second one has brilliant original color, sharp lettering, crisp details, and almost no visible contact marks. They examined the entire coin. Look closely at Lincoln's portrait. Check the date with magnification. Inspect the rim for unusual characteristics. Turn the coin over and study the Lincoln memorial. Look at the lettering and the spaces between the letters. Examine the surfaces under good lighting. If possible, weigh the coin with an accurate digital scale and compare the result with the expected specifications. And don't forget about storage. Copper is reactive. Exposure to humidity, chemicals, air pollution, and poor storage conditions can change the appearance of a penny. Even fingerprints can affect surfaces over long periods. If you have an especially attractive 1971 Lincoln cent, storing it properly can help preserve its condition. The 1971 penny is also interesting because it represents everyday American life from more than half a century ago. Think about where these coins may have traveled. One could have been used at a gas station, placed into a vending machine, carried in a child's pocket, or saved in a household coin jar. Another might have been removed from circulation almost immediately and preserved by a collector. Every coin has a journey. Now, what about the value of a 1971 Lincoln penny? For most ordinary circulated examples, the value is modest. You should not assume that every 1971 penny is worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. Online videos and social media posts sometimes make extraordinary claims about common coins, but the actual value of an individual coin depends on its condition, variety, authenticity, and current collector demand. Exceptional examples can be a different story. High-grade coins, particularly those with attractive original color and strong surfaces, can bring premiums. Genuine mint errors or recognized varieties can also attract collectors. But an auction result for an exceptional specimen should never be confused with the value of every coin sharing the same date. So if you discover a 1971 Lincoln penny, take your time. Don't clean it. Don't scratch it. Don't polish it. Don't assume it is worthless. And don't assume it is a fortune either. Instead, investigate. Check the date. Check for the mint mark. Examine the condition. Look at the color. Search for unusual features. Compare it with reliable references. If you believe you have something genuinely unusual, consider professional authentication. That is the right way to hunt for valuable Lincoln cents. The real beauty of the 1971 Lincoln penny is that it combines history with the possibility of discovery. It may be a common coin, but it still represents a specific moment in American history. It carries the image of Abraham Lincoln, one of the most recognizable figures ever placed on United States currency, and it belongs to a coin series that has fascinated generations of collectors. So the next time you see a 1971 Lincoln penny, don't just see one cent. See a survivor. See a piece of American history that has traveled through more than 50 years of everyday life. Look closely because the difference between an ordinary penny and an interesting collectible can sometimes be hidden in a tiny detail that the naked eye almost misses. This is hardest penny. And remember, the face value of a coin tells you what it was worth when it was made, but it doesn't always tell you what the coin might mean to a collector today. Check your 1971 pennies carefully, protect the ones that stand out, and keep searching. Because sometimes the smallest coin in your collection can have the biggest story.